This has probably been the best reading month I have ever had. Hi, my name is Gemma. Welcome back to my channel. So I have actually read about 10 books this month. That's a lot for me. Usually on average I can read between 6 and 8, but 10, wow. I am so ahead of my reading challenge. It's ridiculous. This is what I'm happy about. So I am going to go in order of the books I have actually read. Obviously, I'm going to put all of the books that I mentioned today down below in the description box, because apparently the way I describe anything, the way I describe plots, is just completely ridiculous and I have no use for it. So let's just continue on. So the first book I did read this month was a 3-star read for me because I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, and it was kind of average. But that was The Descendants of the Crane by Joan He. Now, this is about a girl who is a princess and her father mysteriously dies, so she tries to become queen to find out who exactly murdered her father. This is a standalone. Now, I do enjoy standalone fantasies, but this one kind of disappointed me a little bit. I did read this one with audio and I did follow along with it, but I just wasn't a massive fan. I don't know why I didn't like this so much. I liked the magic. That was kind of interesting. It was very easy to wrap your head around, but it just wasn't my favourite thing of all time, I'm afraid. Maybe I could reread this in the future to see exactly how I do like it, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this one. The next one I read was, well, is one of my favourite series, and that was Escaping from Houdini, which I have been calling Hiding from Houdini. I loved this book. This is a book I did give 5 stars. I love this series. I love this world. I love the characters. I mean, Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell. My heart melts. I loved this book. I do have the last book to read, which is Capturing the Devil. And I do own that, so I do want to get to that quite soon. I really, really loved this book. If you have any interest on historical fiction with a mystery element that I feel is similar to Sherlock Holmes, but a bit more gory, I definitely suggest this series. The next book I read was slightly disappointing to me. I did give it around about 3 stars once again, and that was The Sea Witch by Sarah Hennings. Now, I enjoyed this. I liked seeing the origin behind Ursula, the Sea Witch, because this is essentially what it's about. It's about a girl who becomes Ursula. For me, it kind of fell flat. I don't know if it's because I read it in one sitting. I read the entire thing all in one go, listening to the audiobook and reading along physically. I don't know if it is because of that, but it was just one I didn't really like as much. I then did partake in a reread of one of my favourite series, well, my all-time favourite series. And that's the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J Maas. I am officially Sarah J Maas trash. My favourite book is A Court of Mist and Fury. Nobody's ever going to take that away from me. If you don't know what the series is about, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling following a girl called Feyre who has to hunt and salvage food for her family, who is now poor and used to be rich. But at one point she ends up killing a wolf who ends up being a fairy. And so the main fairy brings Feyre back to the Spring Court, and that's how it all kicked off. Obviously, I gave every single one of these 5 stars. This is my favourite series of all time. I can't go without a reread at least twice a year. I did then decide to start reading a series which I've had on my radar since it's probably come out. So I finally read The Darkest Night. I can't believe what I was missing in this series. I love it. I think this is now one of my favourite dystopian series. I don't read a lot of dystopian, and I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but I love this. So I then decided to read Never Fade straight afterwards, and once again, I loved it. These were amazing. I love them so much. Now, these follow a girl named Ruby who, when she was younger, is taken into a camp called Thurmond, where each child has been taken over by this virus called IAAN. Everybody probably knows what these are about by now, but so these children who have contracted IAAN and have not sadly passed away from this disease has developed powers, certain different powers, and they are categorized in color. So we have the blues, the greens, the yellows, the reds, and the oranges. And each one has a very different distinctive power. Now, Ruby is an orange, which means she can infiltrate minds. She can look at memories, she can get people to do basically what she wants them to do, but she is terrified of her powers. When she first goes into these camps, she convinces the camp controllers that she is a green, who is just basically, greens are very smart. And it kind of just spirals off from there. I loved this. I loved this so much. I'm now currently reading the third one, and I am reading that as we speak. But with each of these books, I did listen to the audiobook while I was reading physically, because with an audiobook, I do actually find it's better to read physically along with the book, because otherwise I just find it really awkward. I gave both of these 4 stars. And the last book I read this month, was Heir of Fire. The 4th book? No, the third. No, it's the 3rd. I have them right there. It's the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series. I am Sarah J. Maas trash. I will admit that wholeheartedly. Obviously, I gave this 5 stars. So this was obviously a reread for me, and I am so in love with this series. If you want to know a little bit more of my thoughts and feelings on this, I do have a vlog up at the moment, which basically describes how much I love this book. Alright, so those were all of the books that I have read in the month of May. Now, if you have any recommendations based on these books of any sort that you think I would enjoy, please leave it down in the comments. I would love to read and get more books based on these. These are some that I really did like this one. This was a great reading month. But if you would like any more content from me, you can always subscribe. That would be great. You can always like this video. Also, if you want even more, I am on Instagram. The link will be down below. If you want to follow my reading live, then you can always go and follow me and friend me on Goodreads. But until next time, read sweet.